The aloha component is very important and unique. For this course, it brings up a question that many people in Hawaii are asking and struggling with, and some do not even realize it's a problem. But right now, the state of the world, it is. The world lacks aloha. Now, what is aloha? And people think superficially that they understand aloha. They think it means it's a greeting, hello, goodbye, or I love you. But this is the modern use of the word. And historically, even at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, Hawaiʻi's last queen, Liliuokalani, was in despair because she felt way back when, even in those days, Hawaiians no longer understood the meaning of the word aloha. That it's not just a word that's used in some kind of expression of love, that it's really and truly a whole philosophy. It's a spiritual path, and it encompasses so many values that were part of the Hawaiian lifestyle and tradition. Values of humility, values of compassion and kindness, and thinking of others. To do something with aloha was very important. And I can remember as a child learning how to string a flower lei. And in those days, we never bought leis. I would have to go out to the plumeria tree and pick the flowers, wash them, separate them into different sizes, and then before I would start stringing my lei, my mother would tell me who the lei was for. And I would think of that person, and with each flower strung on the thread, I would be thinking of that person with aloha, with compassion, with kindness, with very, very warm thoughts, so that the intention, all the good wishes for this person would be felt once that lei was completed and that lei was placed over the person. They would feel as though they'd received this wonderful hug. They would feel the aloha. They would feel the warmth. Like I can remember, there were fewer visitors way back when in the 50s, but I can remember being in situations where, we'd be somewhere, there'd be visitors, and they didn't know, they were trying to figure out how to get somewhere. And, the bus system being what it was, asking my mother, my mother would just say, oh, come with us, and drive them to wherever they were trying to get to. I can remember as these early childhood memories of somehow complete strangers, visitors, being invited to the house, just because they didn't know anyone, and, they were just kind of lost, and, that was just the old-time Hawaiian hospitality. You don't really experience it so much. It's changed. So I truly believe that this course helps people to find ways of expressing aloha in their daily life. And once you start to live with aloha, it's such a wonderful feeling that you can't imagine living any way different. It becomes something natural There's something very childlike and open in this approach to life. And this study of aloha, I think, could help bring it back so that person by person, one by one, if everyone begins to live with these values, we could transform the world.
Aloha to me is the silver lining in everything that happens in my life. It's the unknown and the known.
Aloha is such a all-embracing term. For me, it means having an open heart to the world around me and to myself, and acting that way, acting with love and generosity to the world.
Aloha for me is it's nature, it's love, it's compassion, it's spirit. It's a way of life. So, with my mom being born on Oahu and growing up in that culture, we were always just taught to be kind to people, be open, be welcoming. And so for me, that's what aloha has always meant.
Aloha to me is the whole universe of source and being. In Hawaii, I think to me it's very connected to the land and the energy that I feel from the trees and the park and the ocean and the fish. And I think through the course I learned a lot more about how source and aloha is not just a greeting. You know, it's a whole way of life and a lifestyle. And I find deep comfort in that.
Aloha is everything. Aloha is love. Aloha is peace. Aloha is joy. Aloha is me. Aloha is everything.
So first, aloha for me before I joined the course was like, hello. And after studying with kids, knowing what I know now is how I interpret aloha is my spirit, my essence. And that's how I understand aloha now after being on this course for this time.
I guess for me, aloha means coming from the heart and connecting with others in our community, and also a way of sharing and interacting with each other in a mutually respectful way.
Aloha is love. Aloha is the spirit of the universe. Aloha is God, is everything.
I would say when I started the course, I wasn't really sure what aloha was apart from a greeting. But what I've learned that it is another name for what I would normally call source energy. To me, it's it's a unified field, almost like a collective unconsciousness of spirit that kind of unifies us all and brings us all together.
Oh, aloha. Aloha means a lot more to me now after having taken the course than it did before. It's not just a way to say hello or goodbye. It doesn't even just mean love. Aloha is everything. It's reality. It's energy. It's what we all swim in every day, whether we know it or not.
I always think back of one of my Hawaiian teachers who says, break the word apart into alo and ha. And alo is the sharing of, and ha is that breath of life. And so to me, the breath of life means the connection to the ancestors, to the realms beyond. And so it's the sharing of that, or the sharing of that, how do we describe spirit? But the other realms, or being in the presence of that.
I would say, from what I've learned, aloha is everything, is love. Yeah, I guess that just everything is aloha. That's kind of sums it up.
Aloha is an essence. It's energy. It's all of everything and all of nothing at the same time. I think aloha is something that we all possess, that we're all capable of obtaining and experiencing, and I think it kind of resides and dwells in all of us, and it's something that we're all naturally born with and attuned to. I think aloha is energy, just packaged with another name.
Aloha it's a big concept as I understand it, but if you have any kind of familiarity with Buddhism, there's a lot of connections there. There's a connection to something higher and something natural, and it's the work trying to tap into that and be a part of that.
To me, it's the heart space I wish to be in all the time. It's if I could be in this attitude as well as environment, that's my goal. If I can just be in that loving space all the time.
For me, meditation is something that I carry with me all day long. There can be the specific time set aside to sit on a cushion and meditate, but I find that I am including it throughout the day in my life by having moments of reflection and stillness. And that can be while I'm driving in the car, that can be while I'm washing the dishes, that can be while I'm going for a walk, that can be while I'm cleaning up my house, that can be while I'm talking to a friend or teaching a student. There are these small moments of mindfulness of myself and of what is happening inside in response to the person or the activity that I'm doing. And I can really rein myself back in and say, come back to the present moment. Where are you? I'm already worried about tomorrow, or still hanging on to something that happened an hour ago, rather than being in the present moment. So I feel meditation is something that starts to flow throughout my whole day.
To me, meditation is the release of self. I am so good at being in my ego. I've done it most of my life. Except maybe for some baby time, which I don't remember really. But that's it. I wasn't in my ego so much. But yeah, meditation is that tool that helps me forget how busy I am, how occupied I am with my doings, how important I am to how the universe is, and much more instead about how I'm just in the flow of it all. And my job is just to show up to each breath, and meditation helps me with that, just to help focus on the breath and then feel my whole body breathe and help my body and my mind and my heart sort of rest in the idea of letting go and just being.
Meditation. So part of it is just showing up. That's, to me, the number one thing. You just have to do it. You just have to try. But from a bigger perspective, Kit has been wonderful about teaching different techniques through the different levels that we work in to better get focused for the meditation time. Because this idea of trying to remove ourselves from the thoughts that weigh us down and bog us into suffering and unhappiness, to try and get away from those, it's difficult, but it's also easy. And it's kind of hard to reconcile the two. But having some time to yourself inside your head, away from these things that are really of very little importance or cause us great suffering, it's a wonderful treat to yourself, for one, but it's also something huge that you can do for your community and your family.
To me, meditation is a calming of my brain and my thought patterns. But I'm seeing even more so in this beginning of this new chapter we're in. It's also an opportunity for me to look to see where what I call the monkey mind is trying to lead me, and having the choice to be led or not. So that's a great awakening for me, because the breathing exercises that I had done before did not address that at all. So it's a brand new chapter for me, or as I mentioned, it's a new door opening that I'm really excited about.
What is meditation? I was contemplating that. I had first been introduced to what I then learned as the term meditation back in high school from a teacher who just taught us about breathing and coming into the moment and dealing with stresses. And so to me, meditation took on different depths over the years as I met different people and different teachers, and I think meditation can be seen in multiple different ways now. So meditation to me means turning inward, actually, taking quiet time and finding a place where my mind, my thoughts don't control my life or run my life. Turning inward, to me, in this Western modern world, we're focused so much on outward, or on things around us, on achieving, on buying, on advertising driving us to purchase things to become more happy, to achieve our goals, to satisfy the boss at work, to all these different things. And that to me is very outward. And so inward, or using meditation to turn inward, means really feeling into myself, what's coming up for myself, what is present for myself, what is true, becoming more aware of, and so not being run by the world around me, but really getting in touch with myself of what's important to me or what I need. So recognizing my needs, my wants, my emotions, that to me is inward. It comes from inward.
I would describe meditation as a stilling of my being, a stilling of my body, my mind, and my soul. I don't believe that meditation is without thought. I believe meditation works with thought. For me, meditation is that stillness, that place where I can go to swim deep within myself and the world and not get attached to it all.
I have been meditating before starting this course on my own. So meditation was not completely new to me, but I was just meditating, trying to quiet my noise in the head before. Being on this course, what I learned is about meditation, what I see the difference is getting to know your thoughts instead of suppressing it or not letting it come up. Just notice them and let it fly by. Go back to your own quietness inside you and try to connect with that quietness. So not suppressing or not controlling anything, but just be with it in a meditative state. And that's what I learned, to live in that way, even meditative way, during my waking hours. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve. And that's what I learned differently with this course.
It's like finding another family. The people that are in my class and that have joined since the Sunday Sangha, we clicked like a family clicks. We don't always see eye to eye, but we're open. We sit in the space of allowing those differences to enhance our own journey, our own progress. We've found a way to open our minds and accept other ideas, other beliefs, things that we may not have believed initially. And I think throughout the coursework, Kit was, is a wonderful guide. He's a curator of so many wisdom traditions, and he has this unique ability to combine them and present them in a way that's relatable and understandable and thought-provoking, which is really, I think, what a course like this should be.
I would say my experience has been overall really sort of enlightening. Like, I've learned, like, I have studied some Buddhism and stuff before and stuff, but I've definitely been exposed to some teachings that, like, I had never heard before, and just, I mean, it all kind of, nothing outrageous, but all kind of going along a similar framework, but definitely new insights and new sort of realizations that have occurred, and yeah, it's been really amazing. And yeah, I always look forward to the class, and it's great to have that community sense of like, oh, there's other people experiencing this and we can talk about it, and we can experience it together. So it's been really powerful.
I knew when I read the bio of the website that I was going to get a serious take on meditation, and it wasn't going to be like this woo-woo coddling teaching. I knew what I was getting into was going to be serious, and that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted somebody who had gone through the fire. I had read a couple books already, so I knew, like, I need to find somebody that's done it, not just has heard about it and now wants to share it. In 10, 11 weeks, my experience has been, I hate to use the word, but pleasant. It's been pleasant. It's been refreshing and really elevated me. You know, it's not in an ego sense, but in a human sense. I feel like I'm more able to deal with uncomfortable situations and sit in my seat.
So I spoke before that I had done cognitive behavioral therapy in the past, and that was mostly to deal with anxieties that I was having at different times of my life. I think I'm probably, a good example of a type A personality. I'm always busy. I'm, pretty ambitious. And with that, sometimes, people like me take on more than they can really realistically handle. So I find that there are times when I would get very stressed out and CBT would help. The reason why I wanted to take this course is because, although I'm a scientist, I grew up in a very spiritual, religious community. And the thing that was missing for me in the CBT was the spiritual component and understanding the more holistic view of who I am. I'm not just my thoughts. I have a spirit. I have, emotions. I have all these other things. And I know from speaking to people who had taken the course that this isn't just about your thoughts. It's about understanding your emotions and understanding behaviors. And I know in my own personal spiritual practice that our thoughts become our behaviors, become our habits, become our life. And so I really wanted to really try and get to the root of how I was thinking and be able to sort of map that out and, make sure that I'm thinking the right positive thoughts for my future, and self-care and looking after myself and my community and the people around me. So that would become my behavior and my life eventually. So when I started the course, I was at that point having a lot of trouble sleeping. And I was hoping I would find a way to really, relax and help myself get better sleep, which I have done actually. But I've gotten a lot more out of it than that. I really, I've learned a lot more about what in the course we call the Sangha, which is sort of like the community of people around me. And, there's a lot of support within that community and feeling like, you're not alone. You've got people who are on the same path as you, going through the same things as you, with the same kinds of thoughts as you. And a number of times you're in a class and someone says something like, oh, this probably sounds crazy. And you're sort of thinking, nope, I'm right where you are. I know exactly where that is. And it's great. It feels very inclusive and supportive. It's a nice environment. And, again, I've been in many different courses and groups. And you don't always know what kind of a group you're going to get into. But I think within this group, it is the foundation to be very supportive of one another. I had been struggling with depression and anxiety, diagnosed maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and also with panic disorder. And so where I had done talk therapy and continue to do so, and also take medication, I felt like there was still something missing. I felt like in therapy, I was learning, a lot of the tools that I needed for my mind, but the trauma in my body was not settling. And I just wanted to sort of add to my toolkit, if you will, like different ways of practicing self-care, being able to sort of control, I guess, if you will, the panic disorders, or sort of manage them, I guess maybe is a better word. But I had been dealing with that for quite a while, and it had become quite debilitating in my life, as far as just getting out in the world and doing, being out, doing daily things, going to work, being able to, support my kids with what they were doing, extracurricular activities, homework, and things like that. I just was really struggling with my mental health. And so, I figured, since I've known Kit for a long time,
and I trust him, and trust to share this information and be vulnerable in sort of the truth that I was walking in, that he would be the best person for me to sort of go on this journey with, to see how it might be able to help me in my journey with my mental health. And so one of the tools that Kit taught us is to just acknowledge those thoughts by saying thinking. And sometimes I could say it in my head, sometimes I actually say it out loud to myself and say it a few times. But I do notice that when I acknowledge the thoughts as just thinking, they sort of just disintegrate and disappear. Then it doesn't give me the physical symptoms of the anxiety and panic that I would normally have. I think another thing to note is I remember Kit saying in one of the courses or in one of our sessions, you're not your thoughts, but you're the person observing them or listening to them. And that really resonated, because again, it's just so, when you deal with this sort of mental health issue, it can just really take over. And even though you know what it is, like I know there's nothing wrong with me. I'm sitting at home. I'm safe. So I'm not in danger. Why is my brain misfiring? Why am I going into this fight or flight mode? And so just having those tools again to remind myself and just even say it out loud has really, really helped me to manage some of that, especially in times when, I am alone. And so it is a bit more scary because there's nobody here, to support me in that moment. And so those things have been helpful. And then I would say also, the style of, I don't know if style is the right word, but the way that we meditate, typically I'd always learned to meditate with my eyes closed. And, that's where that sort of, relaxation mode kicks in. Oh, I'm just going to relax. And that does feel good at times. But in this course, we meditate with our eyes open. And though they're not, fully open, they are open. And so you still have that sense of sight and kind of seeing what's happening around you. And I think that has really helped me to strengthen my mind. And I'm definitely still a beginner, but to strengthen my mind, when there's just a lot of chaos happening around me in my household. I have 5 people in my house, 2 dogs, or just out in the community, to really not let it affect me the way that it used to not get consumed by what's happening around me, and to stay focused on whatever it is that I'm focused on in the moment. And so I would think those are, so far my major takeaways that I've been able to implement like in my daily life.
To really consciously be, I'd almost say, training my body to become more consciously aware of my observing my mind, my thoughts, but then also on this next level of tracking my bodily or emotional response to the thoughts. So really separating that out and becoming aware of that on yet a new level has been a wonderful gift. And to notice that I'm actually responding to that. So waking up, oh, wait a minute, I dreamt something odd. Okay, first, and then I drop into my body, and where's my breathing? Oh, it's shallow. Oh, can I take a deeper breath? Oh, what was that dream about? Oh, let me see. Oh, and how did I feel that in my body? So training ourselves through the meditation practice, through acknowledging thinking and acknowledging how does that thinking or what I thought about make me feel, is really influencing my life, I find, so that I can recognize who am I really, who's the observer, what are the parts that are responding, and that's been a huge gift.
I've ritualized a lot of the practices. I've made the morning space. I have more of that. I do think I still want the community, That is the hard thing to do, but the accountability to do it multiple times a week, I think I've been able to ritualize. But going back to the place of source, for me now, the meditation and learning about aloha has made all of this, it's more comprehensive. So when I go for a walk, I'll sit in Kapiolani Park and I'll sit under the monkey pod trees and I'll almost share energy with them and have a conversation. So meditation has become, it's just more expansive of a container, and nature is a big resource for me to feel it. The discussions about manifestation were incredibly helpful, and thinking about how to call in something, a feeling, a state of mind, a state of being. I've been sick for the past couple months with some sort of upper respiratory infection. Do you want me to pause? I've been sick with this upper respiratory infection, and I'm finding what I need is to manifest. I need to manifest health and bring in health. When all my focus is focused on, I'm sick, here's what I can't do, and instead calling in, here's the state of being that I want. And it has been a really, and I lose track. I mean, literally, I've lost track with even my health, but moments when I can get back on track with manifesting and feeling it first, to really feel what that state is, not the details of it, but the actual emotions, and embody it, is a very powerful practice for me. So that has been one of the most valuable and useful for me and for my clients too. It's definitely something that I've brought them into the fold with.
Within the last couple of weeks, the idea of choosing to listen to my brain or not has really helped me quite a bit. I see how it's led me astray quite often. And just in the last few weeks, like I said, with our Course 2 level, of starting to look at different aspects of that. I had an interesting experience in the very beginning of the second week where I felt an anger and was able to follow its roots back to when I was a little child and not being listened to or acknowledged. And I felt that was where my anger was coming from. That was eye-opening to me. I have felt that anger for years and years and never knew where that came from. But it makes such sense on where so many years of problems have come from, now that I can see it. With that realization as the first little step, I'm jumping on the escalator, as it were. I mean, I'm full speed ahead. I think that's why I've been encouraged to participate in my breathing so much more, to study all the course materials that you have given me for this week alone. So I'm grateful for this door to open for me, and I can see that I'm so excited about stepping in and continuing. So I have no doubt about my staying in class and in full participation.
More awareness. More awareness. Okay, now this is my ego and this is my heart. And be able, especially during the last level 6, I really had gone through a lot, and I remember one time I was at home and I was just crying, and I really could feel the ego part and the heart part, and I could fulfill both parts. There was this ego was scared and felt alone, but there was also this nurturing, heartfelt part of me who could also interact. That was a really hard moment, because I felt so lonely and all of that crying. But later on, when I looked at it, I thought that was so beautiful that I was still able to feel the heart, to nurture myself, you know, and hold myself in this moment and feel that, because I was a person who preferred to push down the emotions, and yeah, that is something I'm still working on, you know, to let the emotions arise, whatever they are, if I like them or not. Still love myself, still love whatever arises, and give myself the love I need, and no judgment, you know, no pushing away. Yeah.
It was surprising how quickly I started to feel calmer about things and less stressed, and it was gradual. But probably within a month of just practicing, I could actually feel a like sea level change, you know, not just like, oh, if I stopped and I thought and I did the breathing. I realized that like my base level seemed to be more even keel and less likely to get upset about things that were happening around me that I didn't have any control over. So yeah, it was funny because I thought only maybe during meditation would I feel this, but it was really all over pretty quickly in my life. Yeah, I think that, you know, I have a stressful job. I would say that, you know, as I went through my day-to-day work, I really brought a compassion to my interactions that that I had struggled with maybe a little bit more before. I had more of an understanding for the people who, you know, I was really just seeing via Zoom at that point, and kind of losing some of the connection that I may have had with in person. It gave me this new way of seeing them as a real person again, not necessarily as just a box on a screen who is handing me work.
Out of the entire course, being able to go through the levels, the takeaway, the biggest takeaway for me really is sitting, like being able to sit in meditation, starting with level 1 and just going through the levels. So that's that tool that I can use wherever I'm at, and I have that moment, and I calm and I sit and I, with eyes wide open, breathe and take myself through the levels. It's a good check-in, a good reset. Yeah, it helps me stay present.
I do my meditation before I go to bed. 20-minute practice is just before my bed. So I have cultivated that practice, and during my meditation, I have been able to stay in and focus in on my in-breath and out-breath in level 2 and out-breath in only out-breath in level 1. I have been able to cultivate that more than I did before. So I guess that brings me more at the center, at the core, while I am doing meditation, and during the day too. It just brings me back, not too often as I work on autopilot a lot more, but my awareness during the day has increased than it was before, for sure.
I would say my life has changed from the result of some of the things I've learned in the course. Mostly just, again, this feeling that I know I'm not on this path alone. You know, I know that, you know, a lot of other people experience the same kind of emotions and things as me, or find difficulty in focusing the same as I do. And, you know, again, the principles that I've learned here have really helped me to approach my problems or my issues in a completely different way. So yeah, I would say definitely my life as a whole has changed from being on this course. I think the most helpful thing is really the identification of when my mind starts to spiral, when I get overwhelmed, if I'm at work and I get really busy, and normally, you know, the pace of the day would just quicken, and you find yourself feeling overwhelmed. Whereas now I have the ability to be more objective. I think it's the objectivity of my thoughts, which I've found the most beneficial by far. And this is something that I've not found with any other practice or, you know, anything else that I've done, is the ability to sort of say, okay, there's that thought. I recognize that thought. Okay, I don't have time for you right now. You know, go over there and sit. And then that really just, it brings about, it makes me feel more centered. You know, I think more clearly, more organized. It's not just beneficial for me, but obviously when you work in a busy environment, you want to be centered and calm for the people around you as well. So I think just learning that objectivity of the thought process has just been a huge, huge benefit. I think the process that's led to this change, I think for me personally, I knew that, you know, I had a lot of behaviors around anxiety that I wanted to shift and I wanted to change. And so there was motivation, there was willingness to change, to be open to a new way of thinking and a new way of dealing with issues. So I think that has, you know, it's been a dual component of my own motivation plus the skills that I've learned on the course. I can't wait to see what comes next. It just keeps getting deeper and deeper. And, you know, I've always been the kind of person that really enjoys like thinking very deeply about things. Obviously, I'm into research and questioning everything. And yeah, I guess that's another thing I really like about this course, is that you feel very encouraged and supported to ask questions. And so that's really good. So I'm looking forward to see what comes next and to see how my thoughts change even more over the next 6 months.
It was a habit of mine to avoid and chase momentary pleasures. But after I started your course, I could catch myself thinking those thoughts and being disciplined enough to control that part of me, myself. Well, you want this right now, but this is what I tell myself. You want this right now, but you're not gonna be happy after you get it. Why don't you just sit down, wait? Yes, I've noticed a lot of results. I've noticed people around me started to change the way that they look at their own problems because of the way that I've looked at myself. I feel like because of the meditation that I've been doing, that we've been doing, I'm much more mature in everything. The way that I set boundaries, the way that I communicate, and then that trickles over to the rooster or my family members, right? Everybody notices, and so they realize, oh, Bruno's different, and so because I'm different, I don't know, I just feel like people are like, oh shit, maybe I can change too. Maybe there's parts of my life that I haven't looked at, and I could, because I see that he's changed.
What has changed in me? Yeah, I did have quite an experience of insight and realization at one point, and I would say that changed a lot for me. And certainly, I guess I've had a meditation practice sort of on and off for, I don't know, since maybe 10 years or so, and I think I've experienced the most growth during my months of being in this course in terms of with meditation, for sure. I think it's made me come alive more in myself and just in the world and everything I do. It's brought a greater understanding of myself and the world and life, and just lended to I guess just making my experience in life more beautiful and more enriching.
The course has, I would say, has had a huge impact on my life, and it still has, in the sense that I am so much more aware of where I am in the present moment, where I am and what is going on. And meditation is a lot easier in the sense that I am not judging myself any longer, but just notice where I am in that moment and what happens. And then that in itself is such a relief. It's this moment of just checking in with myself and seeing where I am without judging, and then having the tools to guide myself to move in a different state of mind.
Well, one habit that I had been just almost a slave to for the past several years was I was a total news junkie. And it wasn't just, the news, it was cable news, it was the opinions, it was kind of this constant frustration and anger and fury at the situation with politics, with the world. And I really realized that just wasn't serving anybody. And especially once we started doing the course, and I started paying a lot more attention to my thoughts and how that affected my mood and how that affected my life, I just gave it up. I turned the news off. I still feel like I need to be engaged, but I don't need to be just constantly angry about every little thing that happens in the world. It's freeing. It's, it also puts things in perspective. I think before I felt like that was my personal responsibility as a citizen of the world, was to be angry all the time at every injustice, every little thing that was going on. And the course definitely made me feel a lot more grounded, a lot more calm, peaceful. And I think I really started noticing that, strangely, when I started paying attention to how I was dealing with other people, interacting with other people, and the conversations that we would have, just my friends and I. Whereas before, we would maybe focus on the negative. I guess just naturally, I was a more positive person, and it seemed like the conversations and the topics of conversation with other people also became more positive. It's kind of amazing how we affect other people without even realizing it. And the course, when you have something like this that really helps you have that mindfulness, it can change your world. It can change people around you.
Everyone would benefit from this course. Every single person in the world would benefit from this course. I think people who are at a place where they're questioning and they don't know what the question is, but they know the answer is something more. We all think of being kinder and gentler as some type of weakness. To be kind, to be gentle is a show of weakness. That's not what that is. I think in order for the world to change, we do need to become kinder and gentler. How else do you create a world that is more joyful, more loving, more peaceful? How do you do that if you cannot find a way to use your compassion and your empathy to become kinder and gentler? In my opinion, that's exactly what we need in government. That's exactly what we need in nonprofits. Isn't that what nonprofits were created for? To be kinder and gentler to whatever group of people that they service, whatever group of people that they're there for. We can all learn to be kinder and gentler. And I think that the day that we can do that as a whole and strive towards a more joyful, more compassionate, more loving, more peaceful world, I think that's the day the world changes. That's when the shift will really happen. So yes, I truly believe that those sectors of business, those sectors of government, those sectors of service could all benefit from this course.
I don't know. I don't have children by myself, but I took care of children and I was in families, you know. I know how stressful that can be, you know. Especially in the morning, everybody has to get ready and there's a lot of going on. And I think especially if you have newborns, they flip your life around. They completely flip your life around. So you are kind of upside down, and I think that program could help them to just stay centered, to concentrate more, to keep it balanced. Yeah. And when I think of teenagers, their life get, upside down. And if parents just just respond from their heart, and that could help them too much to stay calm, to see the bigger picture, not just okay, now he whatever, came up. I think they could react more relaxed, more calm, stay more calm, balanced, and that could help the children so much if they don't grow up or let's say if they grew up in a environment that is, peaceful and calm, and not kind of, how do you say? I don't know. That the life flips around when any kind of challenges arises, because the children learn that, they copy the behavior from their parents, and if the parents react like, the children will do that as well, and that doesn't do them good. When we are in with our co-workers, with our bosses, whoever, these are also relationships, Companies could not improve, how you say, benefit from that so much, to work from a place of aloha, because in a company, the bigger the company, the more people and maybe different cultures are in one space, and there are so many different dynamics, and if everybody, or let's say at least most of them, would respond rather than react, and and do their work from the heart and not from their ego, I mean, that would be awesome. They could improve their business and also that people, workers, I'm sure they would be happy to go to work. You know, if you have a workplace that might be poisoned, and they would, you know, change from an ego perspective to a heart perspective and live that aloha, I'm sure they could completely turn it around and improve their businesses, and the people, are happy to go there to work for them.
Yeah, I think really anyone could benefit. It's, you know, if you have thoughts in your head that bother you, it could benefit you. I mean, there's just pretty much anyone who has any frustrations in life and is willing to come at it with an open mind. To me, those are the two things. If you've got an open mind about it, and if you want to do something about those racing thoughts in your head that seem to just take over your life, and you're willing to do something about it, those are the things that would make you a good fit for this course. I think that anything that can bring calm and peace and empathy to any situation is only going to improve it. You know, and home is where, you know, your heart is, and you really need to, it's funny because they're the people that we love the most, and sometimes it's easiest to be snippy with because we can't with with other people, and it's not fair to them. And, you know, more than anything, I want to be able to show the love that I feel for my family to them. And this is a great tool to help do that, to, you know, come to your family with the understanding that they're coming at it from a good place. And, you know, we're all bumping around in these little boats of suffering at different times, but to know that underneath, like, we have what it takes to make it work and to unlock the potential to do that. So this course gives you those tools and the way to work within your family and make sure that they understand and feel the love that you actually do have for them. In our professional lives, I would say a huge amount of our work is human interaction. For some of us, it's all human interaction. For a lot of us. And I think that anything that helps us be more empathetic to people and to understand that everyone is suffering, we can bring that love to our jobs, and we can bring that understanding of people, and to bring tempers down, to not be instigators of any kind of strife, but to look at situations and problems with this perspective of the understanding of human suffering and knowing what all these people are going through, regardless of how we are interacting with them, whether it's our best friends and family or someone that you see for 3 minutes because you're ringing them up in a transaction. I think that any study of this material could help us move forward significantly in world peace, in working towards solving the climate crisis. You know, if we could truly bring these teachings to the table and to come at it from that perspective, yeah, it would make a huge difference. I think that, you know, that's been something that I've been thinking about a lot, like how do we bring these wonderful teachings to a larger audience? You know, does it start from the bottom up and you talk about this when you have the opportunity and it works its way up, or is it top down? Whatever it is, I do think it would make a huge difference as we try and struggle with the big problems of our society.
I believe you have to have an open mind to make a change. I think that's a big almost necessary, because of the many, many people I know, there are many people that are either through fear or stubbornness or something, they don't really take the opportunity to look at life, to make any changes in their life. So that would be challenging for someone to try to learn this course. Most people would get great benefits from it, but you have to take the leap of faith. And it's possible in the beginning of class, I wasn't giving it enough time to see what I see now. So I think that everyone could get benefit for it if they would try.
I think most people can benefit from the course if they're open and ready to have some level of curiosity. If someone is so terrified to look at themselves that they really can't get past that and don't have even an inkling of curiosity because they're in so much fear, it may be difficult for them. Because you have to at least be willing to look around and watch other people have that curiosity and then think to yourself, maybe what about me, right? But so I think that most people would be able to benefit from the course that are in a space that's safe enough for them to look at themselves and are ready to do so, or at least are contemplating thinking about it so they can be modeled what that might look like in a safe space. I believe that the course can benefit people's professional lives for sure, if you understand that taking how you're, engaging yourself and looking at the world around you can be then transposed into any place that you are, right? And so that's how you can engage for myself in the healthcare field with clients in a more compassionate and respectful way, get through your day without feeling hurried and rushed so that you're not listening to what they're sharing with you, but being able to be present in those moments, whatever number of minutes that might be, as well as being able to share that information with others in ways that they can then take even small pieces of that for themselves, and that may help them to be interested to also consider adding meditation into their lives and gaining benefit from that.
I would say any person could benefit from this course. I think that it helps if you already come, with an open mind and an open heart. But I think if you come with sort of, opinions or thoughts on certain things, that's okay too, as long as you're okay to have the conversations, be open to hearing different aspects and different points of view. I think that, because we're live in this society where everything is so fast moving, nonstop and so demanding, a lot of times I think people would think maybe I don't need something like this. I have everything under control. I felt like that maybe 15, 20 years ago, until my mother passed away. And then I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And so, again, I think that this course, if nothing else, it gives you the tools to strengthen your mind, to open your heart, to think about how you show up in the world. to think about what you want out of this life. So I think if nothing else, it opens that up to contemplate those things. And I think that that's good for anybody to do, because, like I've mentioned, there's a lot of conditioning that we've had, in this life. And as adults, especially, it's difficult to unlearn things sometimes and to relearn and to do things a completely different way than what we're comfortable with, and stepping out of our comfort zones. And so, but I think that that anybody who's open to, maybe trying something that they never thought that they would do, or taking it to the next level if they've already done, some meditation, I think anybody could benefit from this course.
I think anybody who is willing to go deep and do some deep work can benefit from this course. And I say it specifically that way because I do. I was sharing with some friends of mine about this course, and I said, well, it's not really for the faint of heart. And I don't mean that badly. It's just it really makes you confront, what is my mind thinking about all the time? What are those old beliefs? What are those storylines? And so yeah, it takes some courage. But who would benefit? I think everybody could benefit from a course like this if they're ready. And they might not be ready to take it to this level, and that's all right too. I think everybody has the right to be where they're at. But I've been raised, and I truly believe in give it a try. Give it a try and see how it is for you. You can always say, no, I don't like it. You can always leave the food and turn it down and say, whoa, interesting idea, no, not mine. But I think it's worth a try. I think it's worth trying out and seeing, because I think this is the real work that'll make life more exciting, more miraculous, and more compassionate with everybody. As I can see this course also supporting people's professional lives, because especially in profession, when we want to be actually more calm, achieve more goals, be able to have supportive conversations, and not get pulled aside by some old storyline or some old triggers, to be able to be more aware of what's coming up, to get back to the point, especially in a profession, to get back to the point, to clear whatever needs to be cleared, so that, let's say, a project can move forward more consciously, more precisely. If there's issues out there, to be able to speak to the issues. If there's a challenge with a coworker, to be able to speak to them more clearly with a solution-based focus, instead of that triggered, that storyline, the old he did so then and therefore I did, and I think does not really help anybody. And so the more conscious I can be about myself, the more present I can be, then I can also have other conversations with professional colleagues, and we can really achieve our goals more clearly and support each other in achieving those goals. Most of us are struggling with so many unprocessed wounding, and this unprocessed wounding is what's actually causing the storylines that we spoke of that kind of run us. And so by taking a course like this on meditation and becoming aware of who am I really, and what is my mind, what are my thoughts, am I just thinking, what are my emotions, what are my automatic triggers, will raise my awareness to what's really truly going on, or where I need to do some personal inner work. And I see the challenges as we're speaking of family units, as with those those of us, those people who have not been able to, who have not been given these opportunities, who have not taken the time, who don't have the capacity to do this inner work, that they are run by these old woundings and old stories, and they're not able to really truly be present and connect to each other and support each other. And so attending a course like this one, where we learn about that, where we learn to be more present with ourselves, as we are more present with ourselves, we can be more present with others. And I truly can see how that would help any family unit, any bigger unit outside of the family too. But if I picture a family sitting at a dinner table, let's say, together, and dad is triggered and tired from work, and mom is frustrated and held back and juggling too many things with kids and whatever, and the kid just went to school and is younger and had its own challenges, but nobody has the capacity to truly listen or be present, or will listen to the others sharing, but will listen with this old storyline or this old belief of, oh, now they're blaming me. Oh, now I have the shame or this guilt. Then the support isn't there. And the more conscious we can become of all of this, the more we can support each other. So the more within the family, the mother, the father, the kids, everybody can help each other, being more present. And as the parents have more of that responsibility to work on themselves, they can clear things and they can be better role models for the children and for future generations.
I think an open-minded person would benefit most from this course, because I think in order to work on yourself or create a closer relationship with yourself, you need to be willing to question your own beliefs and question your everything. And it's not that you need to change any of that per se, but you have to be willing. You just have to be willing and like honest to look at it. I think the perfect person would have to be open, honest, and willing. Absolutely. I definitely think this course would benefit people's professional lives. I feel like it's definitely benefited mine. I mean, I feel like the confidence that I have to like step up and out into the world, into my community, of just who I am and what I have to offer. And, I think in any circumstance where you're invited to like get in touch with yourself and follow your heart, that's what's going to lead to all these other successes, whether it's professional or, in a relationship or whatever, but definitely beneficial in a professional way for sure. Like parents taking this course would be super beneficial for a lot of reasons. I mean, I feel like just looking at my own family dynamic, I don't know what it's like to have children, but looking and from the perspective of a child, I feel like a lot of the times that there's been disagreement or concern from my parents has been because of a reaction that they've had to me, to my beliefs or my actions. And that's kind of what we just look at head on in this program, is how your relationship to other people and yourself, like why am I getting frustrated? Why am I getting angry? What, how can I show more love in this situation? Or what are my own boundaries? Like, I think this would be super beneficial to families and parents.
In my work as a body worker, I work with a lot of people with money, people with little money, people who have been on a path of self-care and enlightenment work for a while, people who are just starting out, people who are small, people who are tall, like people who are older or younger, anybody. There's no label. I think that's what I love about level 1. Is learning how this samskara world that we live in, there's just this form and these labels that we put on everything. And it really comes down to being in the moment. And if a person is young, or a person has one leg, if a person is dieting, if a person is very successful at their job, it doesn't matter. I don't understand why there would be a line or a threshold or some sort of requirement for a person, anybody, to take KIT's course. If more leaders, people who are in those leadership positions, had the practice of living with Aloha through KIT's meditation work, it would just make those conversations that they have with other people a little more grounded in, I think, bigger picture stuff. I think too often, from what I'm witnessing and have seen in leadership positions, there's this egoic mind that just loves to feel like it can control and dominate. So when I think when any of us go to those places of being in charge, it complicates a bigger good if we stay in that egoic mind. And through KIT's meditation work, we're reminded how to sort of step away from that, breathe a little bigger, and sit back and rest in the bigger concepts that KIT presents.
I would say anybody and everybody would benefit wherever you are in this practice stage of your life. This will take you further, for sure. Wherever you are, it will just take you further from there. But if somebody is completely unaware of their mind, their body, and how all the different compartments are running us all day long, and not our true self, this will be very, very eye-opening practice. And this practice takes you deeper into who you really are. And somebody who is interested in knowing that, who is interested in putting that time in and practice, will definitely benefit. Somebody who is, I think, not doing well mentally, like anxiety, depression, sleep apnea, that's very common in the world right now. Just by practicing, learning this practices would definitely help in those things too, as far as I understood from the course. So anybody and everybody should take this course and will get great benefits. You're changing as a person. So wherever you take yourself will make a difference, because you're changing from inside. I'm changing from inside. So if I go to my friend's house, if I go to my work, if I go talk to my kid or my husband, if I'm changing, that is going to reflect in every single relationship that I'm engaging in. So regardless where I go, because it's me, it's inside that is changing. It has nothing to do with where I stand, not the location. I take it everywhere.
I think all sorts of different kinds of people would benefit from this course. I think if anyone is dealing, again with anxiety, I think this would be a good course for them, because, especially if they've done CBT before, because it does really add another dimension to the way that you view your thoughts and your thought patterns. I think, anyone who is spiritual would get a lot out of it. I think anyone who is a scientist would get a lot out of it, there's quite a lot of quantum mechanics that comes into play at times, and that's great. So yeah, I think this course isn't just for one kind of person. I think it's open for a lot of different personalities and people at different stages of their life, or who may be having, different emotional issues. I think it would be really beneficial for them. I think it impacts me at work, definitely. It impacts me everywhere. I think, again, just being able to notice when I'm taking too much on, or, my mind starts to get busy, and being able to step back and look at the situation objectively. I think that would benefit anyone, anywhere, even if you're in the line in the grocery store. And this happened to me the other day, and there, you always get behind that one person, and and they drop their money on the floor, and the till breaks, and everything goes wrong, and you've just got 3 things, but and so you can stand there and you can just be like, okay, it's all good, just breathe, just be patient, it's fine. And that sounds like maybe a silly, trivial thing, but this is life. Life is full of these moments where things don't go as you would like them to go, or there are these little anxieties that creep up, or these little issues that creep up. And I think absolutely mindfulness meditation, and for me the whole Buddhist logic behind it, is really beneficial to me in helping me to be able to understand that, and to just accept it and smile, and genuinely smile, and just be like, okay, this is life. I think this course would be very interesting for children. There's been a lot of studies about how meditation and mindfulness really helps kids in school. And I think that's great. I think what this course could offer is more of an inspection of the thought processes, because this is something that as children we don't learn. It's something I wish I would have learned, growing up, is to be able to identify, the different emotions when they arise, and then look at what caused them, and evaluate, how I was going to deal with that. What am I going to put in place to deal with that? I think kids would really, find that very beneficial. And again, within a family unit, understanding that we're all coming from our own separate places, and that we all have our own issues, and, trying to understand where the other person is coming from. I think we're slowly starting to move into that in level 3, understanding that everyone has their own story and their own issues, and being able to then objectively look at that and say, okay, this isn't a reflection necessarily of how they see me. This is what's going on within them right now, and I shouldn't take this personally. And I think society would be better as a whole if we stopped taking things personally. I think we're suffering from that as a society right now, taking way too much personally, and not really seeing things from another person's point of view, or understanding, or having that compassion to look at someone who's struggling, and maybe lashing out at someone, and understanding, hey, there's some real pain behind that. This isn't someone that's just being awkward. This is someone who really needs some compassion, and maybe I should just be a little bit more patient here. And I think kids, especially adolescents, whenever you've got all of the hormones going, and the emotions that you don't understand. And I remember that time in my life was just crazy. And if I would have had something that would have helped me to stop and breathe and think about things in a rational manner, and give me like these antidotes that Buddhism seems to give for the various different things, issues that come up in life, I think it would have made a huge difference. And maybe I wouldn't have needed the CBT for anxiety.
I think with this course that it's really applicable to anybody, that anybody could benefit, anybody with an open mind and sort of a willingness and a curiosity to experience maybe something different, or if they've already done meditation, something that's probably a different sort of meditation. But I think anybody could benefit from it, and really, I think it's something that would be valuable for everybody. And whether you're a mom, a dad, a stay-at-home mom, working person, or just anybody, I think this course would lend itself to really assisting anybody in living a life that's more full of aloha. I think the course is really helpful at developing a really healthy relationship with yourself. I mean, it's making friends with your own mind and just the way you talk to yourself and interact with yourself and just what goes on in your own head, and really examining that and looking at that and being conscious of that, things that you may not have been conscious of before. And I think it really makes me, even, and anybody in their interactions with other people, really kind of go deeper and think of how is that impacting myself and how is that impacting somebody else and the relationship. So I think whether it's, to my relationship with anybody or a parent and their child or anybody else, that it would really help in any sort of interaction. And I mean, we all know meditation is calming too, and just that, right? It's stress relieving. So even just those kind of simple things that are pretty profound too, that just meditation can make a huge difference. And I think the introspection that it does take to be a part of the course, and that is really valuable, can make a huge difference. I know even just like, I know I have a friend who's a mom, and she just says even just her 10 minutes a day of meditation like makes her interactions with her children just so much better. And just that she's able to be more calm, more present. And I think really examining what your inner dialogue is like, then it also influences your outer dialogue with other people, and making that more kind, more loving, and just a way to help your children grow better.
The question is, whom would I not recommend it to? Anyone who is a spiritual seeker and who is interested in mindfulness practice will benefit from this course. I believe this course is equally beneficial to personal development as well as professional development. For one, I find the longer I work with it, the less the less I can separate it. My personal development and my professional development go hand in hand. And so again, that's why the course is something for everyone. And I think everyone who takes the course will very quickly find out that the self-development part actually benefits our professional work as well. It benefits the way we are with our friends, with our family, the way we are with our colleagues, the way we are at work. It has a huge impact on our entire life. And I'd also like to say I would specifically recommend this course to people that have very stressful jobs. I'm thinking specifically about the first responders during COVID and the amount of stress that they went through and are still going through. And I believe that the mindfulness practice can be an enormous support for them. As an educator myself, and as someone who has worked in the school system for 27 years, I wish every single person involved with school would take this course, from the teachers to the parents to the administrators. We have the future of the children in our hands, and we are their we're their guides. We are their heroes. We are their examples. And for us to be healthy human beings is of utmost importance.
I would say, Kit is really a special person. The people in my cohort were amazing. There's just, you're not ever going to experience anything like this again. In some ways, it's almost like that feeling of being a freshman in the dorms and you don't know what's going to happen. And all of a sudden, all these wonderful people show up in your life. At least that was the experience I had. And, you know, they're people you want to stay with forever because they have this unique experience with you. So your classmates are a big part of this, your cohort. It's a very special place, and it was wonderful for me, and I'm so glad that I did it.
I would say prioritize yourself, right? Put yourself on the list. I think for me, you know, for years, I was at the bottom of my list if I was on it at all. And I, you know, my eyes didn't necessarily get big, but I was like, okay, that's a commitment and I want to make sure I can commit to it. So I think, you know, that is important, like making sure that you're able to commit. If you miss a few sessions here and there, like I have, I think that's okay. But like, you know, making sure that you're sticking it out. I think it's worth it. And it's something that becomes part of your routine. So you actually just look forward to it, you know, each week. I think you start to look forward to, you know, sort of like the fellowship, if you will, like being with the community, seeing the folks on screen, meditating together, talking about your different challenges, because, you know, since most of the folks around you probably aren't doing something like this or haven't done something like this, you know, you have a community to talk to about it and to, you know, talk about what you're struggling with, you know, what's useful, what's resonating, what's helping. And I think that that's important because not everybody is going to understand this journey. So, you know, it's like relationships that you build and community that you build on top of the skills, you know, and the tools that you learn. But yeah, I would just say, you know, prioritize yourself. It's part of, like, for me, I see it as part of my self-care. You know, this is for me. And I would say Kit is awesome. And, you know, I think that he's very patient. He comes from really a place of giving and sharing, you know, this knowledge that he has learned and continues to learn and has made a huge commitment to learning. And I think, you know, him offering it to the world, really, now that we're in this virtual space, you know, you don't have to be on the islands to participate. You can be anywhere in the world. And, you know, I think that says a lot about the person that he is in sharing that with all of us. And so I would say that if you're looking for, you know, a way to change how you view life, to change how you live life, to strengthen your mind, open your heart, come check it out.
I want everybody who hears about your program to, even if they don't join it, to be reminded that there is good out in the world, and aloha is one way to say it. There is and there is something out there, and no matter what you do, like, connect with that and try to make your world a healthier world, better world for everybody else.
My final words would be that this course has been amazing. It really has been, and I'm not just saying that. I really couldn't, like, how the cards fell and how I fell into this course has seriously been a game changer. I'm way happier, and I just really appreciate how, like, Kit portrayed all the information and the space that he holds, and all the people that kind of randomly come together and hold space for each other. And I've just been so happy and impressed by what has come out of this so far. And yeah, I'm just kind of beside myself at how helpful this has been, and realistic this has been. Like, I haven't had to make any crazy life changes. I haven't had to change who I am. I haven't had to do anything outside of outside of who I am in order to just obtain like the peace that I feel and the happiness that I experience. And I still definitely have bad days, but they're not as catastrophic or irrational. And I'm just super grateful for the opportunity to participate in this course.
I would say that it's definitely a journey worth taking. I would recommend it to, essentially I'd recommend to all my friends or anybody that I know, that especially that are open and willing and interested in meditation and just interested in, I guess, kind of making friends with your own mind and wanting, if you want more out of life or to kind of help find your way. I think this course is really valuable.
I am in very much appreciation for this journey, for what you have offered humanity as a gift. I think it's a treasure. I think I hold it dearly, and I'm in much appreciation for all the paths that have led me here, because I find that, again, as I said, I find I'm led to be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there, and I'm greatly enjoying the journey. So I really want to thank you for helping not only me but so many others.
I think if you're wondering about signing up, to just give it a go and see what you think of it. I think it's definitely worthwhile. I think there's something here for everyone, and I don't think that anyone would be disappointed.
I highly, highly, highly recommend this course. It is beyond blessings. If anybody, if you don't get nothing major out of it, let's say if you don't, you will cultivate a practice to know yourself. You'll cultivate a practice to be quiet. You will cultivate practice to see what is you, real you, and what is just a perception and ego. And that is beyond anything that normal people think is, but it's so important.
I guess my final words would just be thank you for creating this course. Thanks for letting me be a part of it. It was a beautiful experience.
Words.
I would just share that I appreciate the time given to all of us in the course, and I appreciate your commitment, Kit, and your willingness to share your knowledge with others and help us to improve in our lives so that we can help to improve our communities. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
I could just personally say that I'm really grateful for this opportunity. As I said, I have another course, I'm doing other work, I've experienced meditation before, and I followed that intuition, giving me that nudge to say, maybe have a group, maybe have somebody that you can share this experience with, that you can take it deeper with, somebody that'll encourage you, that'll, if you check in once a week, maybe you'll get to finally sit every single day and make it a habit that feels really beneficial. And I must say I've been positively excited about all the material that's there, the intriguing videos and reading and just seeing things from a different perspective. And I feel there's no judgment. Everybody's accepted as they are. And at least in my cohort, there's a true support kind of each other, of thank you for sharing, and this is really interesting, or can I share from my perspective to help you along? And so to have that sharing is a really beautiful experience, and I'm grateful for it, and I hope others can find that too.
I moved to Hawaii 13 years ago, and coming from the Midwest, my experience of aloha was salutation, was maybe a culture that had like hula and grass skirts. And living on an island, I was presented with this idea of aloha, but I couldn't still quite get it. I couldn't connect it to how my life was and where it was going. And Kit's work helped aloha be more not only less of a concept, but much more of something that I can rest in now and feel comfortable, I wouldn't say believing in, but certainly noticing that it's less of a fantasy, less of something that I dreamed about in Michigan, and much more something that really is special, and it's right there for all of us. Kit can help us get there.
You know, the other thing that makes this program different is that it's very clear that Kit and the leaders care. There's a deep level of care. Being able to reach out to them in between sessions and check in, to go and, go and sit at other meditations around the island. And I think that level of care is also, it's very unique. You're not going to get that in a class about meditation, a standard class about meditation. There's a very human element and heart element to the program. And that's probably another big reason why I stayed in it, even when I had trouble committing to the daily meditations.
It's my hope and my wish and my prayer that people will learn about this course and it will resonate with them. They will feel a connection, maybe one that they don't recognize, maybe one that they don't understand exactly, and that they'll have the courage to follow that and see where it leads them. And I look forward to seeing them all in Sunday Sangha.
Aloha is a way of life. Aloha is so many things. It incorporates many values, and it's also on a higher level. The entire universe is aloha. Meditation is learning to quiet the ever-busy mind, the monkey mind, to just reach a point where one is still and very quiet and able to become one with the source that we all have within us. I really believe that the combination of this magnificent Hawaiian value with meditation enables people to really live what they're learning in the Course in a very active manner. It gives insight and pulls it all together in a very interesting way that, to my knowledge, has never been done before. It may seem extraordinary to do this cross-cultural melange, but they're actually about the very same thing. And the Course gives one step-by-step methods to learn and achieve the goal of learning to meditate. And of the aloha, the concept of aloha, living aloha, really helps one to live it in very concrete ways in everyday life.